Hi folks, Dave, the Honest Audiophile. This is the CCA CRA, and these are my Honest Audiophile impressions. I want to thank KZ for providing the CRA for review. Do greatly appreciate it. KZ, you rock. Alright, so the CCA CRA, this can be found for anywhere between $15 and $23, depending on where you purchase it from. It is very much in the budget-friendly neighborhood, and it has 34 ohms of impedance, 105 decibels of sensitivity, frequency response of 20 hertz to 40 kilohertz, and it is a single dynamic. Unboxing is the usual for KZ and its price point. You do get a couple of different things. You're going to get white silicone tips, but I put star lines on just because they fit me better. And then you're going to get a cable. My cable's different colored than the normal, but I've seen most people get the white cable. This one has like this brown feature to it, which is kind of nice. And then it has a metal faceplate. You can get it in white or black. And overall, I find it to be very well built. It has a nice shell build, a longer nozzle than normal, no wings, a little bit on the flat side, not really that chunky, and I find that they just fit in the ear and just disappear. And they do a good job with isolation of outside noises. I find that they block probably somewhere in about the 60% range of outside noises, especially if you get a good seal. I had to change to the star lines in order to get the better seal. Didn't notice any sonic difference between the starline tips and the stock tips, just better fit. How do they sound? The CCA CRAs, I went into these thinking, oh boy, these are going to be the budget ones. It means it's going to be big V-shape, lots of bass, lots of treble, and not too much in the mids. And to a degree, that is correct. They are very much elevated in the bass. They have a lot of sub-bass presence, and they have good mid-bass presence and upper bass. But what they do differently than most of the budget-friendly options is they actually have control in the bass. It's actually a very well-defined and very well-controlled bass, and I really do enjoy it. It has a lot of girth to it, a lot of power to it, a lot of authority, but it stays controlled. It has good details and a decent resolution to it, and the tone is adequate. Going into the mids are behind the bass. They are somewhat recessed, but they're not swallowed up, and they're not, just non-existent. They do exist, and they have good tonality to them, and they have enough air and presence to them, and they have a good amount of body. I do wish that they were a little bit more present, but overall I find that the mids to be very adequate, especially for this price point and being a V-shaped earphone. And then getting into the treble definitely is elevated, and it is way extended. These have some of the best treble extension, especially for a budget earphone that I have heard. And it is actually controlled, just like the bass is, even though it's elevated and even though it is definitely boosted, it is controlled, and it has a nice quality about it. It's a very nice approach to the treble, even though it's elevated and it is not quite accurate and true. I really do enjoy the CCA CRA. As far as overall tonality of them, the tone and timbre is a little bit off, but it's not the worst sounding earphone, especially at this price point, and it's enjoyable. I find I'm not going to use this for critical listening, so I'm not being super picky on the tonality. As far as detail, retrieval, and resolution, they're actually really good for the price tag. I was super impressed by the amount of details and resolution that you get in these. These are not a harsh sounding at all. They're not grainy, they're not gritty, they're not muddy or thick or bloated. They do a very good job of being controlled and being resolved. And with all the details that they get, they do a very good job. Soundstage wise, they're about average in width, nothing special here. But what they do really good is with depth and layering. They actually do a very good job of reaching in and looking into the stage and then being able to layer, and you can have things upon each other and moving around. It does a very good job. Is it the best at imaging? No, it's not the most accurate and precise, but it does a good job. It's not three blob. Things do travel across, and you can tell it's over in this neighborhood, it's over in this neighborhood, it's up here, this one is in front and this one's back. It does an okay job with it. It's just not precise and pinpoint. Overall, I really do like the CCA CRA. This thing has impressed me, especially for the price tag, somewhere in the $20 range. This thing is special. How does it compare to some of its siblings, the ZST-X? Now, the ZST-X from KZ has a warmer sound, but is more bloated. It's not as controlled in the bass, but it is more laid back in the treble. It's not quite as forward and elevated. The KZ ZEX. The ZEX has a little bit more of a fuller body approach to it. It's not quite as airy, not quite as separated as the CRA, and it definitely is not as bright and as forward in the treble. The ZEX is a little bit more of the full body version of the CRA. And then getting into the ZEX Pro, almost knocked over my sundoors. The ZEX Pro is got a little bit better detail, but it is not as resolving. It is harsher, and it definitely is more aggressive in its presentation, and it does not have the bass impact of the CRA. So I actually prefer the CRA over the ZEX, the ZEX Pro, and the ZST-X. It's been Dave, the Honest Audiophile. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video. Speaking of next video, somewhere on the screen, subscription links, notification bells. If you haven't already, give those a check off, and then also don't forget to give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to the video. Check out the links down below. There's all kinds of information regarding how you can contact the channel, follow the channel, support the channel, and all kinds of other things regarding tier lists and music recs and all kinds of other things down there. So check out those links down below, and don't forget to enjoy the music, and honesty is the best policy.